Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition where live Moni Sabata Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Y and beyond. We're streaming live on Facebook at 3FM 927. I am Alfred Akrofi.
My name is Petition.
This evening, a new Patriotic Party minority caucus vows to resist what it describes as intimidation following a failed attempt to arrest a Sen South Member of Parliament, Reverend Tim Fojo. We bring you a blow-by-blow account of what exactly transpired earlier today during that NIB botched operation.
Also coming up, Supreme Court adjourns indefinitely hearing of injunction application against petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. We have details for you.
This evening, there's heightened tension in Bawku amid reports of gun battle between the security and personnel and some youth. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for the Bawku Central Constituency and Majority Leader Mahama Yariga has condemned the latest operation in the area. We have eyes on how things are playing out over there. Here on Hot Edition, we'll bring you an update on the Communication Ministry's press conference earlier today and the issues that came up there and some reactions to it as well. As we speak as well, Gyakye Quason has been acquitted and discharged after 3 years legal battle over perjury and some other charges. Latest from the courts. Stay with us here on Hot Edition. We have the latest in business and sports coming up over the next 1 hour 30 minutes. For now, it's a look for a summary of the news, and Safwa Bohim is here.
Thank you, Alfred, and welcome to the news summary segment. We have 4 stories for you this evening. And to our first, the Minister for Communications, Digitalization and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, has unveiled plans for a comprehensive national SIM card registration set to begin on July 1 this year. Addressing the press in Accra on Wednesday, Sam George stressed that this will not be a SIM re-registration, but rather what he describes as a proper registration process aimed at ensuring a more efficient and accessible system. Away from the Ghana Airport Company Limited has strongly refuted claims suggesting its involvement in alleged drug trafficking activities at the Kotoka International Airport, insisting the accusations are unfounded and damaging to its reputation. This allows allegations made by the ranking member on Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, Reverend Tim Fojo, who claimed that 2 aircrafts recently landed at the Kotoka International Airport with illegal substances on board. Also, the government has initiated moves to stop issuing prospecting licenses for small-scale mining as part of measures to overhaul the mining sector. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Makofibua, said rather than issuing prospecting licenses to prospective miners, which was open to abuse, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority would be resourced to undertake geological investigation for gold-rich lands, which would form the basis for the issuance of real license. And to our last story, personnel of the Ghana Immigration Service GIS have intercepted 25 bags of cocoa beans being smuggled into Togo through the Kokjago border in the Bumprugu enclave in the northeast region. The bags of cocoa beans are believed to have been transported from southern Ghana to the north on a transit outside of Ghana as part of a syndicate that smuggles cocoa beans outside of Ghana to neighboring countries. And this brings us to the end of the news summary segment. And over to you, Alfred and Beatrice, and a happy birthday to you once again, Alfred. For God and country,
indeed,
amazing work.
For God and country. Appreciate you for this. Thank you.
Right, sure.
Thank you so much, Safa Bahin. This morning is on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. Let's get into the stories now. The minority in Parliament, they've condemned what they call an attempted intimidation of Reverend Tim Fojo, the ranking member of Parliament Interior and Defence Committee, and it's an MP for the Asin South constituency by the National Intelligence Bureau. This follows recent allegations by the MP about 2 suspicious flights at the Kotoka International Airport, which he claimed were transporting narcotics and some laundered cash. Well, this afternoon, some operatives of the National Intelligence Bureau reportedly attempted to arrest the MP at his Spintex residence for questioning, but but not successful. Now, this was because a number of the NPP bigwigs and supporters who had massed up at their residence prevented the National Intelligence Bureau operatives from effecting the said arrest. There's been repeated calls on the MP to adduce evidence to back his claim or face the consequence. In a recent press release, the Ghana Airports Company denied Reverend Intimidation allegation and threatened to take legal action against such falsehood. George Quene is my colleague. He was there at the residence of Reverend Intimidation. He's going to be joining us in the studio in a bit. But this is Alexander Apenyomarking, the minority leader at the residence of Reverend Intimidation earlier today.
The caucus expressed a view through its authorized member, Mr. Intimidation, a reverend minister and a politician. If government disagree with views expressed, government can also tell a side of the story. This is democracy. It's not about we are inviting you, you come with armed men, about 20 of them. We don't need it. If you disagree, you disagree. In any event, the caucus is calling for a bipartisan inquiry into this matter. We should be able to judge all. But, well, they have de-escalated, they've left, they've gone back to wherever they came from. We want to assure the government that we will cooperate if they approach things in a decent manner. Absolutely. But we will not be intimidated. We are few, but a mighty few and a happy few. There are serious matters for the state to consider. Joblessness, people need jobs, the Galamsey issues. So far, they have not demonstrated seriousness in dealing with the Galamsey. If some agent of the state would want to pay attention to trivialities,
this is democracy.
Then it is going to be the beginning of the end of this government, and it is not necessary. They should stop it. We are there to engage them. But let me make it very clear that Reverend cannot be made an example. Reverend is not a loner.
He is never.
He has not walked alone.
Yes. He will
never walk alone.
And he spoke for the minorities.
A ranking member, of course.
As a caucus, we have our various committee heads. Yes. And he is the leader of the Defense and Interior Committee
Man of the moment
of our caucus. Yeah. And he speaks for the caucus. And he expresses the views of the caucus. So nobody should make any attempt to single him out and try to come here, intimidate him. He walks through this unfortunate valley of the shadow of death. But he will fear no evil. Because he walks with his God.
Yes.
And the strength of the mighty 88 behind him. So please, government officials, enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Stop it. Let's engage. We are political actors. Let's assure the people that we are ready to uphold the promises of the Constitution and democracy. This must stop. Thank you very much.
So that's the minority leader, Alex Anapanyomakin, is an MP for the Futu constituency. If you go on our Facebook page right now, 3FM927, we're showing you videos of exactly how things played out. Reverend Tim Fojo's residence on the Spintex Road. The man who witnessed every issue and the things that played out there, interacted with some of the members of parliament on the NPP side. Joining us in the studio right now, George Quason. It's always good to have you, George. Now, you were there at the residence. How did all of this start? Because we got videos of the national security operatives storming the house. Then what happened next?
So when I went there at the gates, I think one of the operatives asked why I'm here. I'm like, I work with TVC, so I had to show him my press accreditation. So I was made to enter. You could see a lot of them, but whilst you're taking your pictures, they actually would ensure that you don't take them in the picture. You can take the other part, but not them. But I could hear noise in the background. You could hear that the Reverend was resisting the arrest. And then the other party, bigwigs in there. But for me, I think moving forward, if we really want to invite people for investigations of this sort, it should not be this very style. And the leader of the minority caucus actually confirmed the fact that it was not a pleasant sight. I don't know what really transpired inside, but you could hear voices more of resistance.
I see, but you spoke to some of them.
Yeah, I spoke to Opon Nkrumah, MP for Ofansi, and he says government should follow due process. They are ready to collaborate. They are willing to collaborate with them. So if we really want to have a closure on this very case, they are ready to do that. Let's follow due process. So I think we had a soundbite.
Let's take a listen to Kojo Nkrumah. If you're on our Facebook page right now, you'll see that video of that interaction between George Quason and Kojo Nkrumah earlier today.
Have you seen in Ghana's history that we sent about 20 gun-wielding NIB officers to go and pick him up to come and explain what he said? When? Is this the change? We're not back in a coup era. So that's the first issue, that when the minority caucus is raising questions that there's a particular matter, full-scale public inquiry needs to take place on that matter. You don't send gun-wielding NIB officers. Did you see the guns? AK-47s, cocked people wearing masks and balaclavas all over. This is the democracy.
Moving forward, do you think that
you can't move forward? That is the first matter that must be articulated clearly. Okay. That what the government is doing is trying to intimidate the minority caucus. Not even Intim Fojo. Intim Fojo is just one spokesperson. But this attempt to intimidate the minority caucus by sending, all of this thing, it is unheard of in a democracy. It doesn't happen in a democracy. When we were in power, people were saying all sorts of things. When did you see us sending 20 gun-wielding NIB officers to go and arrest that person? It's not done. That's number one. Number two, even if you want information from a member of parliament, you saw the speaker's notice that he issued quite recently.
You see, and then
you come to parliament, the lawyers of parliament will be there. The person's
parliament's on recess.
The job of a member of parliament does not only take place when parliament is sitting in plenary. So there's clarity on how it's done. You come to parliament, the lawyers of parliament will be there, his lawyers will be there. Whatever questions that you want to ask of him, you can ask of him. But this is totally unheard of, and nobody who believes in democracy should support what is going on.
Moving forward,
that's why we've had to object to it.
Well, the party has explored this option of only giving this, press releases to the leader to just communicate any
committees and have spokespersons on various committees. That's the reason for which we have committees and we have spokespersons on the various committees.
That's Kojo Nkrumah, the first a member of parliament and also former minister in charge of works and housing, also information minister at some point in the ex-while Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo administration. But then again, you spoke to some other MPs as well who were at the place. Dominic Nito as well. Yeah. What exactly did he say?
For him, he actually touched on the immunity of the lawmaker. He says that immunity has been breached, and that was his concern, basically.
Let's hear Dominic Nituo as well.
Well, I'm here because I've been told that there are so many police cars and security cars coming to just arrest one person when the person could have just been invited. Just like what the speaker has always said. You get in touch with the speaker, he will release the person, and the person will go. To have over 20, 30 security people, and they're all around like that. We, first of all, decided to come and see whether it is actually true that these things were happening maybe in the 80s and 70s, but not now.
But I think former defense minister there, a number of things happening here is not strange to you. That you should put
time, I will not allow that. I will not allow that people will barge into somebody's house to use Rambo style to arrest the person. In those days, I will not allow that.
It happened, obviously. This is not a point to equalize.
I want to tell you something. If it came to my attention, I would never have allowed that. Okay. It doesn't matter the person have allowed that type of thing. And I want to be frank that if it came to my attention that people march onto somebody's house, we would never have allowed that. And I don't believe any NPP government would allow such a thing to happen. This is how we go about this.
How should it be handled differently?
Listen, a member of parliament or any other person, once we invite him, you come and inform, police will come. If you have committed a crime, they will tell you what it is and tell you that you are under arrest and for this reason. If they will tell you that, look, whatever you say will be used in the court of law against you. But there are standard procedures for arresting MPs nowadays. It's not law, but there are conventions that we created them. So you write to the speaker or through leadership, and they always come. There are several MPs that have been invited, and they all honored it. Several MPs from our side. Of course, the NDC has not invited any MP from their side. But I can tell you there are several MPs that have been invited. They all honored it. This will not be a new thing. Yeah. What we don't want to see is what is happening. It's giving a bad name to the government and to the country. It's not good. We hand it over peacefully to the state. If somebody has committed something, let's know. In other case, what did he say? Did he accuse? Go back and look at the statement. Did he even accuse government? Did he accuse anybody?
They say he should assist in investigation, and that is what is happening at this point.
You don't assist in investigation by carry over 20, 30 soldiers and police to come and arrest the person. For what? What is it for? Is that how to assist in investigation?
What's the way forward for the New Patriotic Party and the minority?
Two MPs have been invited. They have not yet come. Honorable Mustafa and the independent MP from Gomwa, something, A+. They wrote to the speaker, and the speaker gave them a date. On this, they come meet the MPs. Why are we doing this? What is it for? Why is his case different?
Well, that's Dominic Nito, the former defense minister, indeed, talking about what would have happened if he was there as defense minister. But then again, looking at how things played out at the residence of the MP for the Ascent South constituency, did he come out? Mm-hmm. And at what point did the minority MPs arrive there?
So I actually got a call around, I got a call from him that was around 12:16. I got there like 3. So around 3:30, that's when I saw Apenyo Market and the others coming in. And actually what transpired inside, I can't really tell. So in an hour time, they came out, addressed the media. But one thing was, he was asked to stay mute. He tried talking, but Apenyo Market just told him not to talk. So Apenyo Market did all the talking, and then they had to whisk him in a car and then left the place. But I can confirm that he will not be sleeping in his residence today.
Yeah. Is that what he told you?
No, but I can confirm that he will not be sleeping there today. Maybe, because they didn't come with our arrest warrant, it's a reason they couldn't arrest him. So what if they come later with a warrant? So I'm sure he is not going to sleep at his residence. I can confirm that.
I see, but then again, there's been a lot that's been happening in this regard. Mm-hmm. Alexander Apenyo indicated what they intend to do going forward, and also reiterated the process that he says should be in place for an arrest of this nature. Mm-hmm. So how did all of this end? At what point did the National Intelligence Bureau officials who went to the place leave the place eventually?
That was when Apenyo Market came with some of the party executives, and then in 30 minutes, I don't know what discussion they had, but clearly they didn't come with an arrest warrant, and that was not a legal way of trying to come and arrest someone to assist in investigation. So after that discussion in the apartment, they had to leave, and then they addressed the media, and that was the articles came away from his residence.
George, I appreciate you for this, and I thank you so much for the update on how things played out at the residence of the Member of Parliament for the Ascent South constituency, Reverend Intim Fojo. And let's go on to the telephone lines now. Richard Komado is a security risk and security consultant. He's been following this particular issue quite closely and he's joining us on the telephone for a quick conversation on this. So, Commander, appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Hot Edition.
You're welcome, Alfred. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. But you looking at how things played out today, and because I know that this is one that you had predicted that if he doesn't cooperate, there's a possibility of this happening.
You remember I forewarned him last week. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm laughing.
I see. So now the minority's position is that, look, due process has to be followed to the extent that even though Parliament is on recess, they should have notified the Speaker for the Speaker to release him, as was the case with A+ and then also the former Youth and Sports Minister, but not this way. Is this one that you agree with?
I said, there are too many things being said. When you ask your reporter 3 questions, he dodged 2 of them. You see, somebody is screwing the narrative, and the narrative has been screwed. I said, let me ask you this, or let me speak from my mind. Considering how political our brother MP's statement has become between NDC and NPP, you believe that BNI operatives or NIB operatives will walk to his house without an arrest warrant? If actually that is what they want to do, it is not true. The BNI will do 2 things. One, they will invite you, or number 2, they will arrest you. If they decide to arrest you, nothing stops the arrest unless Jesus Christ descends. And guess what? We discussed this thing over and over again, and I explained to the general public the circumstances under which you can be arrested without an arrest warrant. I think somebody screwed the narrative, and that is why we are having this conversation. But I can agree with you 100% that they can use the channel they use for A+ and the other MP. But all cases are not the same. All cases run differently. It depends on the leader of the team. It depends on the exigencies of the time. It depends on exactly what they want to do at what particular time and what results they want to achieve. I will beg to differ that if somebody has taken pictures, just like it's on social media, and say these are BNI officers, they work in the place, they were not allowed to get to where the forger money, but they were prevented in the premises as the media is being reported. I think there are a lot of half-truths and there are a lot of things that are not being said correctly.
I see. Now, you say it would be rare and for you out of place for the National Intelligence Bureau officials to have gone to this place without a warrant if they were there to arrest him.
Definitely. And if they want to arrest him without a warrant, then they are entry there on the certificate of emergency. And if that is the option that is on the table, nothing stops them from executing it. I'm telling you this as a result of core standard practices that has been sanctioned, and there are sanctioning procedures for officers who go on the field. I suspect, I don't want to say because it does not come into the narrative, I suspect these are law enforcement officers who have been brought together from other security agencies with NIB officers or BNI officers. BNI officers do not dress in military uniform. BNI officers do not wear guns around their neck like they are Marines or Special Forces and they are going to hand Osama bin Laden. These are well-trained officers, and I think somebody screwed the headline for political reasons, and that is why we are having this conversation.
See, not just for the benefit of the education, under what circumstance can the National Intelligence Bureau effect arrest without a warrant?
Or they can search without a search warrant.
Right.
For instance, when they have a reason to believe that if they do not arrest you, it will create a national security problem. If they have a belief or they've come to conclusion based on intelligence that you have to be arrested now or you have to be searched now for the purposes for which they were there, they will do it and they will let you know. Or they had a tip-off that you are engaging in some activities that poses threat to you yourself or to your neighborhood or to the environment or to the state. Then they will effect an arrest immediately. For instance, a typical one is you are driving on the road and you crash somebody's car and there's a police officer around. The police officer will not go and look for arrest warrant. They have the power to arrest you there immediately, even though they are not having arrest warrant. And so that is the way it works. Then you are driving on the road and you got involved in an accident, and the one who caused the accident wants to run away. That person will be arrested. The premises can be searched, the car can be searched, and many of those things can be searched without a search warrant. That is a state of emergency. So these are some of the few reasons why you can be arrested and you can be searched without a search warrant. But after that, again, considering the political nature of Uncle Fojo and what we are dealing with, I will cut off my head if the BNI officers will walk into his premises and arrest is on the table and they will not go with arrest warrant. That is not the BNI, and that is not the NIB.
So if it happens that indeed, because the minority MPs who stormed the place are insisting that indeed this action was taken without a warrant.
They didn't arrest him. So there are two things I was saying. If they are there to invite him, is a different thing.
Yeah, but if you so their question is that if you're going to invite, for instance, let's assume that that's the case, you don't go there with this number of operatives.
No, so that's what I was explaining to you, that what is being shown on social media, the officers I'm seeing there are not from the BNI. There might be BNI officers involved, but those ones they are showing are not from the BNI. But the minority screw the headline, because after these are two things I've just explained to you. The BNI invitations can be done in person or in any other means appropriately. But once the BNI walk into your premises and arrest is on the table, nothing stops the execution. No matter the numbers that troop in there, no matter whatever you do, once arrest is on the table, it will be executed. So let's speak to the core practices and the best practices, because one story says that they were inside, but they did not go to the room where he is. After, if the BNI or the NIB entered your premises and you are the target for arrest, wherever you are in that house, they will look for you and they will arrest you. If they have a problem with his premises being, sex or people coming there, I can understand that this is NDC MPP. But let's not say that the BNI or the NIB got there to arrest him without an arrest warrant. That is not a true story. And from my checks, that is not what is on the table. We will need to look at it further.
So, Commodore, appreciate you for this. Thank you so much. Richard Commodore is a risk and security consultant joining us with his thoughts on this evolving matter. We're keeping an eye on how things are playing out.
And let's bring you some more here, because the hearing of the injunction applications against petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo has suffered a snag following the indefinite suspension by the Supreme Court. Former Attorney General and lawyer for the MP for Otafo, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, criticized his successor for his absence in court. The case, initiated by Vincent Eko Osafwa, Member of Parliament for Otafo, seeks to challenge the constitutional validity of President John Mahama's decision to consult the Council of State on the matter without first seeking a response from the Chief Justice. Osafwa, represented by former Attorney General Godfred Dame, argues that this oversight violates the Chief Justice's right to a fair hearing and undermines judicial independence, citing Article 1466 of the 1992 Constitution. Listen to him speak to the media earlier today.
I'm sorry, it captures the remarks. So please, I'm not going to speak. But you heard everything for yourself. I'm happy you heard everything. Yeah.
No, but Council, you were raising some concerns about the fact that the AG had written to the Chief Justice, but nonetheless, he sent someone to court to inform the court of same. I mean, what was the point you're making there?
Well, you heard everything yourself. I mean, that, of course, it's quite odd for him to say that state attorneys are at a conference, and for that matter, all the cases in the country should be adjourned. He is not a state attorney. He could not come to court. A matter as important that the removal of the Chief Justice. He couldn't come or extend the case to a court by attending. The deputy attorney was also not a state attorney. He couldn't come. And what makes it more odd is the fact that they sent state attorneys, not even one, but two senior state attorneys, to come and inform the court that they are at a conference, and so the matter should be adjourned. That is all.
I mean, we know the consultation process are ongoing, and that is the process that you wanted to halt. I mean, that could have some repercussions in that they could come to the prima facie determination while you wait for the hearing to take place.
Well, there's an application for interlocutory injunction pending, so why would anybody proceed? I'll find it quite interesting and quite odd, and be the height of a disregard for the rule of law. if they proceed in that manner.
So as far as you are concerned, you expect the president to halt the consultation with the Council of State while this is pending?
It is not my expectation. It is the expectation of the law. The law expects that such regard for due process be observed. And so it will be actually a confirmation of their disregard for the rule of law. And I think that you should see the affidavit filed by the Attorney General.
I mean, there are those who have made reference to the fact that in that affidavit, he makes the point that there is no law that requires a fair hearing to be given to the Chief Justice. And there are some who are also saying that even under the previous government, the president gave a hearing after he had referred the matter to the Council of State already.
I would say that the law has a fine way of exposing the hearts and desires of men. The Lord has an interesting way of exposing the hearts, the true desires of men. And indeed, it's been evidence in the affidavit filed by the Attorney General. They did not intend to accord any right of hearing to the Chief Justice until the matter was filed. And they indicated it in the affidavit. So it's quite clear. It's okay. I'll leave it at that. The merit determined by the court will argue in court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you heard the former Attorney General Alfred Akrofi Ocansey in that interview with Joseph Akable, and he is representing the MP for Otafo, Vincent Asafa. We stay on legal issues because the Member of Parliament for Ase North, James Gyakye Quason, has been acquitted and discharged of forgery and perjury charges by an Accra High Court. In a ruling delivered today, Justice Mary Mame Ekwa Yanzu upheld a submission of no case filed by the MP's lawyer, Chachu Chikata. The court held that the prosecution failed to establish the essential ingredients of the crimes with which the MP was charged. Specifically, the judge ruled that Mr. Quason did not make false declarations on his nomination forms for the 2020 elections. At the time he declared that he owed allegiance to no other country besides Ghana, he had already submitted an application for renunciation of his Canadian citizenship. Therefore, the court held that his intent was not dishonest. The court further said that inconsistencies in the passport, a summary sheet, and statutory declarations presented by prosecution witnesses, and said that as a result, the court concluded that Mr. Quason could not be called upon to open his defense. Well, Mr. Quason was charged with forgery and perjury in connection with alleged offences in the lead-up to the 2020 Ase North parliamentary election. He pleaded not guilty to 5 counts: forgery of passport or travel certificate, knowingly making a false statutory declaration, perjury, and false declaration for office. Meanwhile, supporters of the governing National Democratic Congress in the Ase North constituency of the West Central region have expressed immense joy following the ruling of the High Court that acquitted and discharged their Member of Parliament, James Gyakye Quason. The constituents, after learning of the court verdict, have been jubilating. Let's get more of what has been happening in that area. And Thomas Khan is our correspondent there. He joins us live on the line. Thomas, can you tell us really how the people jubilated and what's happening right now?
So the people are really excited. For some of them, they claim that this has been a no case for James Gyakye Quason, and they were only waiting for the day that he will be truly vindicated, and this is what they've been praying for. According to them, they said they knew from day one that the prosecution was just a political persecution, and it was not going to end anyway in favor of the NPP. So now that everything has been cleared, they are happy that the NPP, their MP, can now have the peace of mind to bring them the developments that they need.
Indeed, and I was going there because whilst the case was ongoing, they complained that their development, had been left behind. What does that mean beyond what you just told us?
Yes, so according to them, because of this court tussle, a lot of developmental projects in the area has been stalled, and out of that, all the things that they were expecting from James Gyakye Quason as an MP were not coming. So they believe that now that the court has settled this matter, they are going to get the needed development. In fact, they are really excited. And you can see that now when you get into the constituency, that is the topic for discussion. Almost every party, from the child to the grown-up, everybody is discussing this. But there are some who also fear that this could also bring some kind of chaos between maybe the NPP side and the NDC side. So some, especially the elderly people, they are calling for maybe the National Peace Council to also do something to bring the people together, because they don't want this case to bring some kind of disunity amongst constituents in the area.
Thank you so much, Thomas Khan. He's our Central Regional Correspondent. Let's listen to Gyakye Quason when he spoke after the court declared him a free man.
It's almost expected, because you see, when a man is innocent, no matter what you do, it will be pronounced as some later. They were for persecution. They were trying to prosecute, but this is a court of law. That's the difference between prosecution and persecution. And I'm very proud that our Lady Justice, Mary, I was going to tell her in the courtroom, but I mean, the rules doesn't allow that. I was going to tell her she's a very decent human being, and more blessings for her. Thanks to God, thanks to all these people behind me, family, friends, my dear sister here, Member of Parliament. We're all in this together. And I think this is a day for Asin North. Justice for Asin North and justice for Ghana. Stand up on me. So I will release, if you are more interested, I have an article, a short brief article. I can give it to you guys to go and put your own thoughts together, whatever portion you want to release, all of it or part of it, that's fine.
James Gyakye Quason there, the Member of Parliament for Asin North, declared a free man today. Well, from the Central Region, we go to the northern part of the country, because a report coming in from Bawku indicates heightened tension in the area following a gun battle between some youth and security personnel. Details about the renewed violence are sketchy, but report point to the destruction of some police property there. Correspondent Senyala Castro earlier reported that a number of properties serving as accommodation for some police officers had been set ablaze by the irate youth. The Member of Parliament for Bawku Central and the current majority leader in Parliament, Mahama Yariga, has reacted to this, condemning and distancing himself from the action of the police in Bawku. In a statement released today, the MP refuted claims that he had instructed police officers to allow residents to access the local market or purchase goods. Let me give you a quote of what Mahama Ayariga said, and he said in that statement that, "I totally condemn the actions of the police in shooting some youth in Bawku today. Also, I have never had any discussion with any police and directed them to allow anyone to attend any market or purchase anything from anyone. Such matters are not my responsibility. They are matters within the purview of law enforcement officers, and no decision of a law enforcement officer should be blamed on me because I don't control them operationally. The law enforcement officers are advised to work with Abugrago Azoka II, the Zugran and overlord of Kusong, to maintain law and order in his traditional area." End quote. Coming from the Member of Parliament for Bawku Central, current majority leader in Parliament, Mahama Yariga. Castro Sanyala is following up on this for us. He joins us live on the line. Castro, I know there have been a number of incidents in Bawku, but help us understand the genesis of this latest violence. How did it start?
Yes, Beatrice. So information surrounding today's incident, is quite not readily available, but from sources both in the state security agencies in Bawku and then residents who we've been speaking with since morning, we understand that the issue started all because of some disagreements between the two feuding factions to not allow them to use one market or patronize the markets of each other. Following the renewal of the conflict or the resurgence of the conflict, there's been a sharp division between the two feuding factions where they have separate markets. And so, from what we gather, the two factions are, having issues about people from the two factions mingling having to sell at the same market, and that is what we understand has triggered today's incident. We understand that some youth group belonging to one of the factions allegedly created a blockade and were stopping market women from the other side from coming in. And when the police and other security agencies in Bawku right now saw what happened, they tried to clear that blockade, and that, we understand, led to a confrontation between the security agencies and that particular youth group. And it resulted in the, firing of 3 of the members of the youth group, who we understand one has unfortunately lost his life and 2 are currently being treated at an undisclosed hospital in Bawku. As we speak now, we understand that the situation has been brought under control. There's been a bit of reinforcement in the security personnel, both the military and the police, who continue to, hover over the area, patrol the area to ensure that what started in the morning does not escalate and go further deep into the night, where we usually have a lot of attacks as these perpetrators take advantage of the darkness to carry out their attacks.
Indeed, Castro, and the information we had earlier was also that a number of apartments, as it were, belonging to police officers had been set ablaze. Are you able to tell us to what extent in terms of damage?
Yes, Beatrice, that is the disturbing angle we are getting, and we have information that, yes, a number of police facilities have been destroyed beyond, salvaging, and that includes facilities include, first of all, a police truck that is used in, carrying out patrols, particularly in the night. We also understand that the private residence of the Bawku Divisional Police Commander has also been attacked and, in fact, raised down by unknown persons. We also get the understanding that one of the CID officers who is in Bawku has also had his residence raised down. And then just a moment ago, we also got the understanding that another police officer whose house is also within the Bawku municipality was also raised down by unidentified attackers. We understand that from the look of things, it appears these attackers are just out and about, and when they identify a facility that has affiliation with the police, they set fire to it immediately and disappear.
And obviously, the MP for the area has reacted to this, not happy with what the police has done. But has there been any immediate response or word from the districts, as in the Bawku District Police Office, or even the regional office, as in the Upper East Regional Police Command?
Not at all, Beatrice. Like I've always maintained, the issue of Bawku is very dicey, and so people in authority are very careful not to make comments that may appear as disparaging and would probably trigger further chaos. And so, as we speak now, we have not had any communication, be it from the regional minister, be it from the municipal municipal assembly in Bawku, or be it from any other local authority here in the region. But we have the understanding that a dissect meeting was being called, or will be called in the coming days, or even if not the past hours. We understand that it would come off maybe very soon, and the issue of Bawku is going to be topical on that, and especially the fact that people who are supposed to, or who have been tasked with protecting lives, are now being attacked. We understand that that is essentially going to be the focus of the discussion, and how to bring all of this under control as soon as possible to prevent escalation, and which will lead to loss of lives and property.
Indeed, and I know the people of Bawku have endured a lot in terms of this happening, seizing, and the back and forth of it. How are they reacting to the latest incident?
People within Bawku who I've been speaking with are not really happy about what's happening. Beatrice, let me be, from reporting from Bawku for a long time, or about the Bawku issue for a long time, the understanding you get is that there are people who just don't want what is happening at all. There are people who want to be able to walk about freely in the town and go to where they can sit and eat good food and chat with friends. There are people who want to sleep in the town and wake up to a bright morning when, where they won't hear even a cough from anybody, talk less of a gunshot. There are people who generally want to be able to go to school and access health care facilities all throughout, the corners of Bawku. And Beatrice, there are people who want to be able to trade in every aspect of, every corner of Bawku, because Bawku is a very rich town. And so whenever issues of this nature happened, the concerns are that the police, the government, the military, and in fact, residents should allow peace to prevail, because without peace, the future of Bawku would be in turmoil. And that has been the call. People are really, in the town themselves, are even really shocked, because for them, they think that this shouldn't have been an issue that would spark into full-blown chaos that has led to the loss of a life. But then they continue to call on the police and especially the government to do what they can to ensure that they arrest the situation now and forever.
Comprehensive report there. Thank you very much, Castro Sanyala. He's our Upper East regional correspondent. Let's speak to Emmanuel Kutin. He's a security analyst. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
You might have heard the concluding statement of our reporter there, saying that people are surprised that this issue would actually lead to this kind of violence we're seeing in Bawku right now. Does it suggest to you that perhaps we have failed to deal with the underlying issues, so anything is a trigger that could cause violence?
Very unfortunate and very disturbing. And that is the result of inaction. We've talked about this conflict not today. And the media, you've done so well. You've always made sure you airborne some of these things to compel policy makers to take action. But unfortunately, politics is at play here. You see, the Kusasi youths have gone beside, even threatening the member of parliament not to step foot in Bawku, giving the president ultimatum. We can't live in a society like that. And if you look at the videos that are emanating from Bawku, it's so unfortunate and disturbing to the extent that they can attack our security personnel who are there to maintain law and order. I think Bawku is beyond treating Keys group with the indigenous of Bawku now. I think the security must go all out, declare longer period of curfew, make sure law and order is restored, and this time government should not waste time. Government should kick in the peace-building processes. Otherwise, Bawku will be a failed region, more or less, and that will be our Waterloo against our fight against terrorism. And you know, in the Upper East region, they discovered gold, and a lot of the illegal minings are going on there. So more often than not, what we are having in the south of Ghana in our forest reserve, Upper East is now the gold mine everybody is trying to enter into, and that could destabilize the region. So it is government to take action now or never.
Now or never, you say. What is the missing link here?
The missing link is this. You cannot get peace in Bawku given the historical antecedent of what has happened over the period without bringing the feuding factions together. Last check I understood, Otunfo was at the blink of bringing the feuding factions together. Then all of a sudden we had certain disturbances and we never heard anything about it. Government cannot continue to recycle the same strategy that has happened over the period that is not bringing any results. We have to look at new strategies. And if you look at the Bawku conflict as it is now, people think it's about chieftaincy. It goes beyond chieftaincy now. It has assumed social and economic and political dimensions. And we have to look at aspects in peace building that we can utilize. People, these two feuding factions can trust. But if you want to do it the way we have always done it, NPP comes support one faction, NDC comes and supporting another faction, it will not help anybody. And at the end of the day, is the country that will lose. Look at the needless lives we are losing.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. Emmanuel Kuting, he's a security analyst. You're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Bismarck Awusa is standing by with the latest in business. Stay with us.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, government pushes for debt haircuts to save telecom firm AT amid $200 million debt and monthly losses of $20 million. We'll hear from Sector Minister Samuel Nate George. I am Bismarck Osa. Now to our very first story. Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, has revealed that telecommunication firm AT's debt portfolio currently stands at $200 million following a debt restructuring arrangement. According to him, the company continues to face financial challenges with monthly operating losses amounting to $20 million. Addressing the press in Accra, the sector minister emphasized the urgency of addressing the situation, stating that steps are being taken to renegotiate haircuts with creditors to ensure AT's viability.
It's one of the biggest headaches I've had. And like I said, this is debt that was not acquired by government or did not happen by failure of government, but simply by the policymakers' decision to buy a company that was struggling. Poor management on the part of two private entities, Bharti Airtel and Millicom Ghana, who had run Airtel and Tigo into the ground. We had no business intervening the way we did to take over $400 million of debt and claim that we had bought the company for $1. But that's where we are today. In the past 8 weeks, I have engaged with ATC at the country level, at the Africa level, and at the headquarters level. I've met with a team from the US on this matter. We have made some headway. I mean, the city value term of the debt to ATC is about 1.5 billion Ghana cedi. We've heard of the incident of a senator threatening to block IMF payments all because of ATC debt. But we've had very constructive conversations even with the American ambassador, and they've come to a position where they're willing to take a significant haircut. As it stands right now, the offer on the table is somewhere in the region of about 500 million. So we are saving about $1 billion of the debt. We are getting them to write that off. But I'm still pushing for even more.
And that was Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George. Now, a professor of finance at the Gimpa Business School, Ebenezer Bugri Anafo, is urging government to revise the 2025 budget to focus on essential projects and minimize its deficit. His call is on the back of continuous decline in global crude oil prices, raising concerns over Ghana's 2025 oil revenue target. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiela Tuforsen has projected total oil and gas receipts of 16.5 billion cedis in the 2025 budget statement at about $76 per barrel.
This poses a significant revenue threat to government of Ghana in terms of revenue generation. It has a lot of economic implications. This shows that we are likely not to raise enough in terms of our crude oil export to support the budget. And also, this will also impact on the value of the cedi because a reduction in the crude oil price will also would mean that we will not be able to generate enough foreign exchange to be able to support the Ghana cedi. So, government of Ghana will have to revise the budget to ensure that they only spend on projects that are essential. Non-essential projects have to be deferred.
You heard Professor of Finance at Gimpa Business School, Ebenezer Bugri Anafo. Investors showed strong appetite for government treasury bills in March 2025, submitting 47.5 billion cedis in bids, 47.2% above the month's target. But despite the oversubscription, the government recorded its first shortfall in 13 weeks, as accepting 29.8 billion cedis, 7.5% below target, as it continued to reject expensive bids. Investor interest in government treasury bills remained high in March 2025, with total bids hitting 47.5 billion cedis. That figure represents a 47.2% oversubscription above the gross target. However, the government recorded its first undersubscription in 13 weeks during the final two auctions of the month. Authorities accepted 29.8 billion cedis in bids, falling short of the indicative target by 7.5% or 2.4 billion cedis, as they continued to reject costly bids in a falling interest rate environment. Yields on Treasury bills fell sharply in March, averaging an 863 basis point drop. The 91-day bill fell to 15.71%, the 182-day to 16.73%, and the 364-day to 18.84%. Analysts attribute the softened demand to investors reassessing allocations amid the steep drop in nominal yields. Market watchers expect yields to stabilize near current levels in the short term, especially as the government maintains spending discipline and inflation trends downward in the second half of the year. Meanwhile, government plans to raise 6.68 billion cedis through T-bills this Friday, April 11, to refinance maturing bills worth 6.43 billion cedis. And that was the 3 Business News Desk report. In a related development, the Bank of Ghana supported the foreign exchange market with $264.4 million in March 2025 to preserve the stability of the cedi. This enabled the cedi to enjoy a calm market session in the month, with the local currency being virtually static at 15.5 cedis to a US dollar. This occurred as ample foreign liquidity persisted on the local market. Meanwhile, the Ghana cedi will sustain its stability in the retail market in April 2025, despite starting the week on a weak note. This is coming following the Bank of Ghana's rate hike and liquidity curbing measures to tighten its grip on foreign exchange demand, while the ongoing domestic gold buying program remains a source of foreign exchange supply. Before we go, in a strategic move to enhance its brand presence, Bills Microcredit Limited, one of the leading microfinance institutions in Ghana, has unveiled a new brand ambassador, celebrated actress Gloria Osei-Safo. The move comes as the company continues to expand its reach and reinforce its commitment to providing accessible financial services for all Ghanaians. We will bring you that sound later, and that will be all for Business News on Hot Edition with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Reku Ampofo is here for the sports. Do stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on CFM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo. We start off from women's football, where the Black Queens of Ghana suffered a late 1-0 defeat to Senegal in a friendly on Tuesday. The loss comes just days after Kim Lies-Boykagen's side had secured a narrow victory in the first encounter, with Evelyn Bedu scoring the decisive goal. The latest result means the Black Queens have now recorded 2 defeats and 1 win in 3 matches under the new head coach. Coach Oikegren has acknowledged the need for further improvement, stating there's still a lot of work to be done with the team ahead of the AFCON.
And in the end, I think it was a close game. Not so many chances for any of the teams. Normally a 0-0 game, but they scored, and there's nothing I can do about it now. So it's just congratulations to Senegal. I think we can play a better football. So that's the part I'm gonna take with me. But we're also in a process that we have start with the defense since I came in, and now we're start to build a little bit low, how we can use the central midfielder. The final part is to connect with the attacking player, and in these 2 games we couldn't do that. So I think that will be my job in the next camp, to build, connect all the pieces And if we do that, we're going to be a much better team. But I still think that the performances could be better, even if we won the first one.
And so that was head coach of the Black Queens, Kim Las-Iwekegren, speaking there, assessing the readiness of the team ahead of the Women's AFCON, which will be played in Morocco in a couple of months' time. Away from that, let's do some stories on the continent, because some of the quarterfinal games in the CAF Champions League concluded on Tuesday with some interesting results. South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns beat Tunisian giants Esperance 1-0 on aggregate to book a semi-final spot for the second consecutive time as they aim to win the title again. Sundowns goalkeeper and captain Ronwen Williams exuded confidence and a strong sense of destiny following the hard-fought qualification for the semi-finals. He lauded the team's resilience and stressed on the importance of the victory.
Amazing. This one is up there with one of the best. Just because of the desire and the character from the team to dig deep. It's not easy coming here. You know, we knew it was going to be a fight. Obviously, we knew they're going to come guns blazing. But, you know, we stood firm and we hardly gave them a sniff. So kudos to the technical team for the game plan, and kudos to all the players, you know, for standing up and showing character. Obviously, we knew they're going to come out. They were chasing the game, you know, and when we beat them at home, we changed history of the club, you know, because we haven't beaten them before. So when we beat them at home, I knew and I had a feeling that this year it's ours, you know, and the coach obviously played an important role. Obviously he knows them, you know, like, so he gave us all the insights, he gave us all the, how they're going to play, what they're going to do, the possibilities. So we knew their threats, we knew their weaknesses, and we knew it's going to be a game of small margins, you know, and that's exactly how it was last year. And, you know, we want to grow as a team. Because last year I think they had 2 chances in both legs and they went all the way to the final. And I think this year we probably had 2 chances, we took 1, and sometimes that's all it takes.
So we still stay on the CAF Champions League, and I'll just go through the full complement of the results just to give you a sense of how things look like in the semi-finals. Record winners Al Ahly beat Al Hilal 2-0 on aggregate to book their place in the last 4, while Pyramids, also from Egypt, went past AS FAR Rabat 4-3 on aggregate on scoreline. The last quarterfinal game saw Orlando Pirates also beat MC Alger 1-0 on aggregate, which means that Orlando Pirates will face Pyramids and then Sundowns face Al Ahly. Potentially, we could have an all-South African or all-Egyptian final in the CAF Champions League. Speaking of the Champions League, let's head to Europe, because Arsenal claimed a 3-0 win over Real Madrid on Tuesday, placing the Gunners in a good position to qualify for the semi-finals of this season's competition. With teams like FC Barcelona and Aston Villa set to feature tonight, my colleague Bilishan brings you a recap of the action from Tuesday's matches and a preview to what to look forward to tonight.
What a performance from Arsenal against Real Madrid at the Emirates. What a double free kick by Declan Rice. I think Arsenal just puts Real Madrid to the sword. I expected the Gunners to actually win this encounter, but I didn't expect the scoreline. 3-0 is a very solid cushion for the Gunners going ahead into the second leg at the Bernabeu. I think if Arsenal managed to try and keep that defensive solidity, they will definitely qualify to the semi-finals for the first time since 2009. Also, Inter Milan, very, very brilliant result from them, managing to get that 2-1 victory over Bayern Munich. I think it puts them in a very good position, knowing that they'll be going back to their home ground for the second leg. And Bayern Munich have a lot of injuries to deal with, and so it looks like a done and dusted one for Inter Milan, and they will be reaching the semi-finals. That Barcelona-Dortmund game is also one to watch. I believe that Barcelona have enough quality to be able to get one over Dortmund. Then there's also that matter of PSG versus Aston Villa, one very keen one to watch, because Unai Emery will be playing against his old club, and that is one that will be a very strong test for him, also knowing that PSG have been really fantastic on the domestic level, already winning the league, and they've shown that they are a team that can beat anyone in the Champions League as well. Ousmane Dembele is on form. Kvaratskhelia is also playing very well. Desiree Doué playing very well as well. So it's going to be a very action-packed day on Wednesday. But kudos to Arsenal, kudos to Inter Milan. They're in a very good position to qualify for the semi-finals. They have 1 foot in each. And so very good performance from them.
That was my colleague Billy Shan bringing an end to sports segment here on Hot Edition. You can get updates of all the games that he mentioned and more on our social media handles at 3SportsGH or on 3News4S/sports. My name is Orey Kwampofo and Hot Edition continues right after this.